Hi, I'm Kristen Chrisman, and I'm going to read a brief letter to the editor that was published a couple days ago, June 25th, 2022. I'm allowed to send a letter in once a month. And they titled it, Policymakers, Media Misrepresent Putin. If Americans would shed the fantasy that U.S. policymakers are benevolent, wise protectors, Americans would see that U.S. policymakers are playing them like a harp. Read Putin's February 21st and 24th speeches, 2021 essay, and 2007 Munich speech, all falsely represented by U.S. policy and media makers as demonstrating Putin's alleged desires to destroy democracy, conquer Ukraine, and seek empire. Putin speaks of disarmament, the prevention of space militarization, his condemnation of U.S. policymakers' quote, nearly uncontainable use of hyperforce, end quote, and U.S. disdain for international law. You'll see Putin's despair over repeated U.S. dismissals of Russian proposals for European security, over NATO's aggressive expansion, Ukraine's civil war atrocities, the West's selfish use of Ukraine since the 2014 U.S.-funded coup, and his warning that a U.S.-led unipolar world, U.S. policymakers' ambition, endangers the world, democracy, and the United States itself. Biden's administration interweaves the weapon industry, liberal hawks, and neoconservatives, infamous for the Project for the New American Century, which obsesses on American empire, enthusiastically advocating the development of space weapons and biological weapons to target specific genotypes. That's, specific DNA, specific ethnic groups, presumably. U.S. policymakers project their own imperial ambitions and undemocratic authoritarian desires onto Putin. They hide their obsessively competitive desires for economic control over Georgia, Ukraine, and Europe's energy market, and for NATO control over Crimea and the Black, Baltic, and Caspian Seas. As authoritarians, they furiously label all who don't cave into their bribes and intimidation, Putin, as dangerous, undemocratic aggressors. For the jurors online, your accusations of ignorance fall flat. And that last sentence is my personal sentence to people online who are jeering about my ignorance with regard to this. Thank you very, very much for listening.